You ain't gonna worry about it. Move on. Don't worry about it. Read the book of Malachi again and stop reading it from reading it in the Bible where you can see the names properly. He was called Elijah. Now you could be an Elijah because you're a voice of one crying in the wilderness. Now you gotta look and see what Elijah did to see why Jesus called him Elijah. You look back and Elijah would have made all the gods bow before him and set their altars on fire. And that's what John the Baptist was going out in the wilderness, converting and baptizing. Don't forget that John's fathers asked Jesus, which are you? Are you that Messiah, or can we expect another? Because they know in ancient Hebraic teachings there's two Messiahs. No, there's Messiah, son of Joseph, and the Messiah, son of David. And they wasn't sure whether Jesus was the first Messiah or the second Messiah. See, Christianity, they only teach about one Messiah. If you get any books on Judaic teaching, they'll teach you there's two expected Messiahs. One called the son of Joseph, and one called the son of David. The Muslims got confused and started saying the son of Mary because they didn't know whether it was the son of David or the son of Joseph. Jesus wouldn't be the son of David. Revelations give you son of David. Matthew's and them books written by the Romans give you sons of Joseph, only to cause the confusion. So they ask the genealogy of Jesus, and they give you in Matthew the genealogy of Joseph. Because they were trying to confuse people and tie him back to the Lion of Judah, and the Lion of Judah is the Sphinx. Okay? Yeah.
I have a question. I know I don't have to explain it because I heard on your tape. Angels talk to me.
Right.
Okay. And
you are an angel. That's why they talk to you. Remember,
I understand what you're saying.
All y'all, that's what y'all are, Elohim. The word angel, let's get this in our heads. The word angel, angelos, right, means a message. All right? The word Nubian, from the word Neba, means messenger, from the same word as prophet. The Hebrew word, or the Arabic word for angel is either Malik, Mala'ik, or Melka. Mean that which is mahal, full. As the word amla means to be full of something. But when you say angels are speaking to you, what you're saying is star people are speaking to you. If you go back to Genesis, it'll tell you back in the beginning what made us like him, as that we knew the good angels from the bad. How you know they're talking about angels when they say they know good from bad? Because the next thing they say that so he took his cherubims, that he was talking to cherubims. So there's cherubims and there's seraphims, right? Both of them will speak to you. You follow that? Being able to differentiate which one is speaking to you is a discipline that's only going to come when you line yourself in with one or the other. Do I love the woman? You mean the whole species of women?
Woman in Revelation 12.
No.
Chapter.
No, Fatima, no.
Oh, really?
That's Fatima, no.
You don't love her?
No, I have no reason to. I love nobody but Yahweh. I don't love my wife. I don't love my daughters. I don't love my mother. I love Yahweh. I'm compassionate, I'm affectionate, I'm considerate, and I issue those out accordingly when I'm dealing with a woman. I'm respectful when she does things that she's entitled to be respected for. I'm compassionate when she needs the warmth of compassion. But I don't give Pua or Hawa love to nobody but the Almighty. You don't love nobody or nothing but the Almighty. With other human beings, give out accordingly to what they're entitled to for the moment. That's just a figure in the Bible. And that's 2,000 years old. We have got to get out of that period of the book of the dead and come into the book of the life, or the living. You're living still back 2,000 years ago, worrying about a man named Jesus, and a man named Moses, and a man named Abraham 2,000 years ago. And it's keeping us dead. It's a book of dead people. The book of life opens each day when you get up. Every time some new event takes place. Right now, what we're doing right here is a page in the book of your life. And regardless of what you do, it'll never be erased. But it'll be gone tomorrow and becomes a thing of the past. And you got to utilize what happens today to benefit tomorrow. Get out of the book of the dead. It doesn't mean don't read the Bible, because that is history. To follow, that's about our past. It means don't try to live in the Bible, because it's a book of the dead. Try to live what's for right now.
What should be going through our heads right now?
What should be passing through people's heads now is the reality that we are running out of time. And that we're in a wrong state of mind. We still want to worship when we are that which was worshipped. We've got to get back to the state where we are the God. Stop looking for things to worship. Stop trying to grovel in front of statues and in front of men and in front of spirits and spooks, things not tangible. That is all part of wrong knowledge. Get away from that stupid fictional stuff, because if you can't prove it to me, then you are ignorant. Prove it to me that there's a God. Go ahead.
if we're running out of time, what must we do?
We must unite. We must come together as people physically, because that's where we have our strength. And that's the hardest thing. The devil taught us not to unite, not to get along. Your father, you look at the people that get along, the Orientals, look how powerful they are. The Jews got together when they was without a homeland, and what they do? Look how powerful they are. They dictate to the world now. The Italians got together under Mussolini and massacred us while we was in Ethiopia. We're the only people that won't come together. The hardest thing to get y'all to do is to move together. And every successful group of people move together. And they work from a center out. Not from the outside, hey, but I'll be later. And people think we don't want you there because we want something. Listen, when you're on the outside, you're more profitable to us than on the inside. People don't understand that. When you're outside, you're buying books and stuff, you're benefiting us. When you come in, you stop buying. So if we want the money, why are we telling you to move in? We should tell you stay outside and buy our books. So people think by me saying come in, that I want something from you. No, I know that we got to get together to get the power, and it's going to cost us as we get in. Less bread is on the table because we got to break another piece. Do you understand? But that is our problem as a people. If we do not come together, and I know many leaders have come and said the same thing, we've got to come together. I've gotten to the point where I'm telling you, disease is so rampant that the ark got to close. We're going to have to close at a certain time, very soon, and only marry amongst ourselves for at least 4 generations. We can only do it for 4 generations before we'll start getting defective genes. You understand that? By that 4 generations, they should have overcome their black plague. Notice they call it their black plague in America called AIDS. So pretty soon, you will not be welcome. You understand? The mountain that I'm standing on now, I won't be standing on in the next year. I'm going to a place that is secluded, and I'm taking certain people with me, and we're closing off. And there I will teach them how to live so that we can survive what is about to befall this country and the world. Mark my words, there will not be any Africa soon. There'll be no place called Africa. Do you understand that? 65% of Africa right now is infected with AIDS.
After watching your presentation, is there any hope for us?
Well,
You're
yes.
talking about how it's doubling and doubling.
Actually, right. We're talking about how the virus spreads, what the projections are. If Frank Fenner was correct in the article that he said what makes a virus eradicable, the AIDS and other human retroviruses probably violate most, if not all, of the criteria that makes these diseases eradicable. In other words, they can never be eliminated from humans once they're running in humans, short of the redevelopment or new construction of the Rife techniques, which might allow for wide-scale treatment of entire areas simultaneously, if in fact what Rife said was correct, and that was that you could treat a human being by a radio wave that would kill a virus in that human. If it requires personal dialysis-like equipment, which would be to hook the human up, take the blood out, radiate it in extracorporeally like they dialyze blood to cure kidney failure, then that is going to be a very costly, slow process. It could be effective, but it's not the way that we're going to save Africa. If that is in fact the way that AIDS or these other viral diseases prove to be cured, then I think that there's no doubt that Africa is extinct as a continent, and perhaps Asia is well down the same road, since they have large portions of their population already infected with HTLV1, human T-cell leukemia virus.
You understand that? There'll be no more Africa. Stop looking over your shoulder and look forward as a people. Stop dwelling in the past and start looking at what's happening right now for us as a people. That's our hope. I ain't got no time to talk to people like Farrakhan. People say, you want to talk to Farrakhan? I did, but I don't, because he's still talking silliness. He's still talking about what you're going to do to the white man. You're not going to do nothing to the white man. You do not have the power to do anything to the white man. So get that illusion out your mind. Ain't going to be no revolution. You ain't going to grab no AK-47 because he'll make you eat it. He is a fighter and a killer by nature. Do you understand that? He's been killing people for 6,000 years. Do you understand that? There's no more Russia. The walls have come down in Europe. Gog and Magog have come together, like I told y'all they would. Now they're having conflict with China, because China, the dragon, won't bow to the eagle and the bear. And it says in the scriptures, hundreds of thousands of hosts of soldiers will travel from the east. Don't think you're a part of Armageddon. Armageddon is going to be against the new European market that has formed itself, and they already have one worldism in the making, one currency in the making. They just took away food stamps and they're giving you credit cards. Do you understand what I'm talking about? They ain't not worried. They're in place. The only thing that's going to make you survive is if you go off and get back into natural living. So we're depending on the earth, the mother, on the sun. Do you understand? Not on credit cards, not on hospitals, not on your pensions and Medicaid and Blue Cross. None of that garbage, because as long as you're on that, you're under the mark of the beast, and you're going to have to go to him. You have to take your kids and put them on a table. You have to lay your wife on a table in the hospital and let them pull your baby out. Something that's supposed to come to us naturally. Do you understand that? Stop eating his junk. Start growing our own food. Do you understand? And the first stage of that is the liberation of our woman. That's our first step. Because they taught us to treat our women ways they don't treat theirs. A nigga slap his woman down in the street, and I use the word nigga intentionally. You don't see no white man ever slap his woman in the street. His woman's home doing the book work. Our women we don't trust with the money. Yes or no? That's right. We don't give them no images. Tell me 5 black, beautiful woman images. Isn't that a shame you can't even get one in your head? That means what do we teach the children is beauty? We teach the children as beauty is Lady Clairol. And the blondes have more fun. But we don't tell them where they go to have the fun. They go to the Caribbeans, where we live, to have the fun. You with me? That's right. The only way we're going to get out of this state of mind, and it's a state of mind, a disease, a mental state, is we got to raise our woman to her position. Put her back in her glory. Learn to respect that woman. You understand? And it's going to be hard because she's living in an Alice in Wonderland.
Well, what is it that the woman must do?
The first thing the woman must do is see the state of mind that the man has put us in. And the way we act is not because we want to be that way. It's because he made us. He castrated us. He took away our manhood. They established a thing called penis envy, first of all. What was the main thing they taught you, that brother, about trying to get in office? Thomas. What was it all about? What they accused Honorable Elijah Muhammad of? What they accused Dr. Martin Luther King of? And they'll accuse me of the same thing, and you too if you become a leader. That's the first thing. Get you, the woman, to disrespect us. Thus, we feel the necessity to retaliate by disrespecting you. And the best way to keep you in a state of respect is to suppress you, so you can't question me. The best thing a man has is a wife that'll question him, because it keeps him intact. But we hate it. We hate it. She asks too many questions, we get mad. We want her to stay home, away from the sun, the moon, and the stars, while we roam the streets. The Bible does answer the question, but the Bible about the dead. See, the Bible is the book of the dead. Everybody in the Bible is dead. It doesn't mean you can't use a dead man's references for the living, but why if you are alive? Stamp Bible on your day, on you. Live it. Come out of the myth. We go back further than the Bible. We built the pyramids in Egypt. We walked on this planet Earth millions of years before Adam was even born. Stop believing that stupid story that 6,000 years ago we started. We're not no 6,000 years ago old. It took 17 million years for our hair to unkink. And I mean that. 17,500,000 years for our hair to unkink. Now look at the children. Their hair is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. We lost our crown, our glory. the thing that made us unique. You name another race with nappy hair on earth. Go ahead. Name an animal with nappy hair. One animal, a sheep. And what is that animal used for in the scripture? Sacrifice. Right? Because it's humble and it's meek. And we say the Lord is my shepherd in the book of the dead. Rendering us sheep, or Jesus called himself what? A lamb. Mary had a little lamb. Then the lie starts, whose skin was white as snow. And made him a mama's boy. And everywhere that Mary went, I'm not telling you by respecting your women to become a Mary. I'm telling you as a people that we're never going to get nowhere until we start respecting our women. Stop hiding her. No reason why they want to keep you home, sister, because they don't want to dress you. Bring the woman out front. She's always been sitting on the throne right beside us. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't do it, it's the end for us as a people. We are at the last point of our genes. They done genetically bred us out.
Genes are instructions for making parts of organisms. Specifically, and most commonly, they're instructions for making proteins.
And it's in the interaction of those proteins, their turning on and their turning off, their coordination, that you go from a single cell to an organism.
Proteins are all of what you are and do. They are the hair on your head, they are the substance of your face, they do the work that allows you to move and grow and do all of the other things that you do.
So there's no question that genetic instructions are carried in the DNA. There's no question that at some level it is the stuff of life.
Domestic animals and all of our foods were created by changing the structure of the organism around us by genetic manipulation.
What recombinant DNA techniques allow you to do is to do exactly the change, to make exactly the change that you want to make in an organism without doing damage to the rest of the organism.
Because this underlying process of breaking and joining DNA to put genes together in new combinations.
For many of us, there's something very unsettling about scientists using a technology we find difficult to understand. Today, computers actually manufacture DNA.
We can make DNA that is compatible with almost any creature. There is no real mystery to the synthetic process. It's perfectly well understood.
Dipankar Sen, postdoctoral fellow.
In fact, we do make small pieces of human DNA on this machine.
We have gone from a period in which one had only the vaguest ideas about what genes were and what one might have in terms of inheritance, to extraordinarily precise ideas in which we can know in detail what every gene is, what the product of that gene is, what it does.
We can go into selective breeding and saying, we'll only produce the perfect child.
I don't think it's right to actually predict and select. You can't get into the business of playing God. I don't want it to be used to create a perfect race or anything like that.
They can tailor make diseases because it's a lie that the only difference between us and the Caucasian is the skin color. That is a scientific lie. We have different blood type. We have melanin, they don't have it. If we're the same, listen to me. Do you see that light up there? That sun? And then look down, you see this here? This here earth? You understand what I'm saying? We were created here, you say. I'm just saying you say, because I know we came from the other side of the sun, but you want to say it. We were created here in between that sun and this earth, right? And they say that some God force, whatever they want to call it, created us, human beings, whites, blacks, and everybody else, in between the sun and the earth, right? Does God make mistakes?
No.
So why can't white people live between the sun and earth without getting skin cancer? If there is no difference, and if they belong on the planet just like you and me, why is it that I can lay on this beach, right on this ground with no clothes on, and the sun won't give me cancer, but a white person will do it and the sun will attack their body and cause their cells to lack the ability to rebuild themselves, and they'll have a disease called cancer which will kill them? Why will that happen? Because they don't belong on the surface of the earth with us. They belong up in the caves. They are a diseased people. We made a mistake and we broke down the rules and we let the Hyksos dynasty into Egypt. That was a big mistake. And when they came in, they built the cat god called the Sphinx. We didn't build a Sphinx. If you ever go to Egypt, there's a Sphinx ain't no bigger than that house. There ain't no glory in building a cat that big. The cat symbolized the fall of the Lion of Judah. You understand? Cleopatra and Mark Antony built that Sphinx. Cleopatra and Mark Antony had your Jesus called Zeus. It had nothing to do with us. You understand? Get out of the book of the dead. You're in the wrong time zone. Not that small. Islam is small. Christianity is small. When I say small, I mean in time. Islam is 1,400 years old. That's all. 1,400 years old. They don't know nothing about our history. They don't know nothing about our hair. And I'm telling you, the most important thing on your body is your hair. And that's why they want you to cut it and permanently destroy it, and bleach it, and process it, and jerry it, and straighten and comb it, and kill it dead. Because it's your antennas, it's your connection to the sun, and it's the thing that makes you a one of a kind. I'm not talking about our brothers and sisters here with straight hair. Ain't none of y'all here got straight hair. You may think you got straight hair. You got wavy hair, you got curly hair, but you don't have straight hair. You see an Amorite with straight hair, his hair is called flank. You know what it means? Dead. You understand that? Your television wouldn't work if you didn't have an antenna. Don't let them tell you to cut your hair off. You understand? Get your crown. When you're leaving this mountain today, tomorrow, the next day, as you're going down the hill, or just look over there. You see an afro over there, or do you see a process? Huh? When you look over there at that mountain, you see an afro. When you driving into the mountains, all you see is an afro. You want to see a process, look at grass. Grass is a baby tree. Thus, when babies are born, their hair is, and as they get old and stronger, their hair starts to, ours do at least, Latinos do, Orientals do, all people of color do, understand that? But not the man who belongs in the cave, who has no contact with Ra. And you say, well, you are making us worship Ra, the Egyptian god. Right? Take that much time to bear with me and go to your Torah. You understand that? And walk up to any Hasidic Jew who says they speak Hebrew and ask them, what was the name of the God that Hagar called on? Listen again. What was the name of the God that Hagar called on in the Torah? She didn't use Yahweh. She didn't use Jehovah. She didn't use Elohim. Ask them, what was the name? Or get into a Bible dictionary and look. All right? You know what you found out? You'll find out that she called on El-Roi. El-Roi. Read it. They say Roy. E-L-R-O-I. That's a mispronunciation from the Greek and the Latin of Ra. She called on El the Ra. Where was she from? Mitzrayim. They're talking about Ammon Ra. That's when you were gods. What are we now? We're cutting our hair. Now they got young black boys wearing Caesars. Who was Caesar? The father of homosexuality, the biggest faggot. But it's true. They're trying to turn our men into homosexuals. That's what they're doing. They're making our women hate us. Now, if we ain't got no jobs, or if we can't be like Job, then everything is taken away from us like Job, like they do with the job. It makes us start to hate our very creator. Correct? Because I have them under blame. I ain't got nothing. I ain't got no work. I can't feed my family. I start turning against religion. My woman can't respect me because I can't provide for her. It castrates us. Takes away our manhood. You understand? She creates clubs and stuff. And dances to make men shake their butts like faggots. I'm talking the truth. Got men dressing up like women. You understand? See, this trick is, they made men and women start wearing the same clothes. Now you see the young girls that got on boy sneakers, you can't tell a man from a female. Now everybody can wear a sweatsuit, male or female. Correct? But they will now pull us out of right knowledge and blind us. Right knowledge is called Nuwapo. Another word that'll pop up later. You know what I'm saying? They gotta destroy us because it's the coming forth again. This universe, the moon cycle is gone and we're in the sun cycle. Every 25,000 years there's an equinox. The whole universe shifts. You understand? When they shifted the universe, the last 25,000 years ago, you know what happened to you? You became right-handed. You say, now what is he talking about? Talking about right knowledge. This may sound crazy to you. 75 to 80% of y'all stand here right-handed. Why are you right-handed and not ambidextrous like you're supposed to be? Because when they shifted your planet off its axis 23 degrees, your body shifted to one side, and you develop more strength on one side. That's why. The devil knew what he did. We were ambidextrous. We could write in both directions at one time. Dyslexia. The word dyslexia means against the law. Lexia means law. See, he knew what he was doing to us. When he threw our body off, he tilted us away from the sun. As we got away from the sun, what happened is the molar and the light inside, the light that shineth in the darkness, that the darkness comprehendeth is not, started getting dimmer and dimmer. Now look at us. We're not even gods no more. Dyslexia God. The reason why I say dyslexia God is because every time I say God, if you let dyslexia come in, you're going to call yourself a dog. What is the name for dog scientifically? Huh? Canine? Who that sound like? They know what they're doing. What is leprosy called? Whose son's disease? Whose son is that? They know what they're doing. This ain't no accident. And they know that this is the coming forth of the Watchers again.
In November 1961, a secret meeting of leading government-sponsored astronomers was held to estimate the number of planets in our own galaxy with intelligent life. These scientists concluded that there are probably 40 to 50 million intelligent extraterrestrial civilizations in our galaxy alone. Their is ever-increasing evidence that some of these extraterrestrial civilizations are visiting the Earth.
They know what time we're in. Do you understand that? And they got to control all the religions of the planet right now. Who is religion created for? Us. Who believes in it? Nobody else. We're the only ones worshiping ourselves, spook God. So someone says, don't worship a spook God. I worship a spook God. I'm a spook. You call me a spook. You understand? I am ancient Egypt. I am ancient Babylon. I am ancient Mesopotamia. Don't make me think bad is good and good is bad. Don't tell me fire is bad and you can't cook without it. Don't tell me the serpent is bad and you take the serum from the serpent venom to cure diseases. You understand what I'm saying? The serpent is bad to white people because they don't know how to walk in the woods. Because they lack body rhythm. The sun is bad to white people and fire is bad to white people because that sun will kill them. Will that sun kill you? No, it wouldn't. You can go to Puerto Rico, all along the beaches, there's Latinos laying there absorbing the sun. Nobody got skin cancer. You can go to Panama, Haiti, Sudan, right? The Native Americans, and we can lay on the ground under the sun and nothing will happen to us, right? Right. Please, someone tell me why, if the white man belongs here, does the sun kill him? That's the first question. Don't argue with white people no more. Just ask them, why do y'all get cancer? If God created y'all to stand on the planet Earth, like us, why do you get cancer? That's all I want to know. When we get past that question, we move on to the next question. Why don't me and you want to be in the sun? Why do we leave the South and leave the Caribbean and come to these places like New York and Canada and places where we do not belong? We leave the sun, we leave Puerto Rico, he goes there and takes over it. Puts holiday in there. He don't like us when he's walking through Manhattan, but he can go there for vacation. And listen to me. He don't like Trinidadians. You understand? But he can go to Trinidad for vacation. Come to Jamaica. He don't like Jamaicans. He's afraid of Rastafarians walking around New York, but he's going to go to the place where Rastafarians are born for vacation. He's a liar. He loves you. He loves to breathe your breath. He wants that. Do it. Feel that heat? That's why when you meet white folks, they do this to you. And you got to sometimes back up on it. I'm not kidding. Think about it. Right. Teacher get all up in your face. And you say, wow, they got this stale stench. That stale stench is deadness, deteriorating flesh. Their bodies are dying inside. Stop touching them. They got little spots all over their hands, liver spots. That's why they crave the greeting that went like this. You ain't got to touch me to greet me. I'll touch you. We have a flow. Don't touch them. You understand what I'm saying? Ask them, well, if you don't like Jamaicans, why do you go to Jamaica for vacation? If you don't like Puerto Ricans, why are you going to Puerto Rico? If you don't like Africa, why is always, every time I go to Africa, a bunch of white people walk around Africa like this. We're going to Nairobi, we're going to those. What are you doing there if you don't like us? You can't tolerate us here in Bedford-Stuyvesant, but you can go over there where all of us are, where they make me look light-skinned. You're afraid of me, but you ain't afraid of a guy whose eyes is blood red. Can't speak no English and hungry. You understand what I'm saying? You know why that's happening? Because the man is a liar. He is lying to us. And our power is in our unity. Everybody said that. Campos said it. Elijah Muhammad said it. Marcus Garvey said it. Every leader we ever had on any one of the continents that we stood on said our power is in our unity. But for some reason, we will not drop our nets and become fishers of men. That's the first thing Jesus said to the disciples. He said, drop your nets and become fishers of men. Why? Because when they first met him in St. John chapter 1, what did they say to him? They was walking, they said, where you going? You don't believe me? Read St. John chapter 1. They said to Jesus, where you going? He said, I'm going home. Why? If you read the next part, it says because the Sabbath was coming in. Right? He said, I'm going home. And they said, well, can we go with you? He said, sure. And he invited them to his house. And they never left. And they spent the Sabbath and the next 3.5 years with him. That was a sign. And then he said later on in Revelation, for the future sign, I stand at the door and I knock. And anybody who opens up, I will sup with them. Right? These men, I come and I be with you. But getting y'all to come together is like pulling teeth out of a lion with a steak suit on. That's difficult. Trying to get y'all to just unite. Everybody here all thinks they got it figured out. It's over for us as a people. Don't you see the world?
Today, over 1/2 billion people are seriously malnourished. By the year 2000, the United Nations estimates that 65 out of 117 countries studied, more than half the nations of the world, will not be able to feed their own people. Much so-called progress has been at the cost of deforestation, soil erosion, over-irrigation, overuse of chemical fertilizer, and loss of areas that were once productive. We are reaching the practical limits of farmable land. We are running out of water and new terrain to irrigate, and the demand for food keeps increasing. By the year 2000, over 1 billion more people will be living in cities ill-equipped to provide water, sanitation, even the necessary physical space for existence. Development is impossible with a sickly population. Every year, 17 million children under the age of 5 die from diarrhea, malnutrition, low birth weight, and immunizable diseases. Degradation is already extensive and too often irreversible. We think of air like the ocean, able to absorb and dissipate our waste. But the costs of bad air have increased. More industry and more automobiles cause more lung disease, more fetal damage, more cancer, and other serious health problems. Air pollution travels across city lines in states and continents. Acid rain from the United States industrial Midwest has poisoned lakes and streams in Canada and New England hundreds of miles away. And we are polluting existing supplies. In the developed world, we are endangering our lakes and streams and our precious underground reserves with industrial pollution, hazardous waste disposal, and pesticide-laden runoff from farmland. In the developing countries, the principal pollutant is human waste. 25,000 people die every day from diseases carried by polluted water. More food production, more industry, and more people means more pollution of existing water supplies. And we will need over twice as much fresh water by the year 2000. In 1986, global military expenditures were about $1 trillion. Can we afford to devote such vast wealth to the machinery of death when the source of life itself is threatened?
Don't you see he then imported his new niggers, they call Senegalese? He doesn't need you. And when you don't need a person no more, what do you do with them? And if I can't get rid of you by mass genocide because your mouths are too big, you're always fussing and complaining, then I'll do it with AIDS. I know one thing about y'all. Y'all some horny people. And that's a fact. Ain't nobody here can deny the fact that we're horny. Horny, you know, horns. And he knows that. So the best way to get rid of horny people is create a genocide that works through sex. Right? And they tell you, man, for some reason, with all the fear of AIDS, kids are still doing it. Some fools believe that a condom can cure it.
AIDS is a man-made, genetically engineered virus that was either accidentally or deliberately introduced into the world's population. AIDS is not a homosexual disease. AIDS is not a venereal disease. AIDS did not originate from the green monkey. AIDS is not prevented by the use of condoms. And AIDS is not likely to ever be cured by a vaccine.
How can you possibly believe that a condom can cure AIDS? A condom is made of skin and it breathes. They say, well, the rubber condoms can cure it. Are we adults here? When you enter a woman, right, and your penis reaches the end of her vagina, and the liquids exchange, it's going to penetrate anyway. So what do you believe in that? That's to make you think that you can still have sex. You understand? And you hate the fact that you can't have sex no more. But the greatest men you worship didn't have sex. Oh, it's all right for Jesus not to have no sex. But it ain't all right for you not to have no sex. It's all right for Elijah not to have no sex. But it ain't all right for you to have no sex. I'm going to tell you, you want to be great, stop having sex. You go, well, I don't know if I want to be that great. Tell all the Christians, they say, y'all follow Jesus, right? And it says that you cannot get to the Father but by him, right? You got to do what he did. Stop having sex. Watch the churches close down. Right? They know that, though. So they know how to kill us. And it's working. We're gone as a people. They turn you against your leaders. I had many, I'm looking at people who followed me years ago. Right? Now they're out there following all kinds of stupidity and fools. But they never forget the truth I teach them. Right. You understand? You know why? Because I am not going to be a preacher for you. I'm not going to be a religious preacher so you can dog me and look for my faults. You're not going to use me that way. I'll teach you the truth. I'll teach you right knowledge. I'll teach you facts. That's the best I could do. But you're not going to make me some religious spook thing so you can dog me. No. It ain't going to happen like that. And that's what people don't like about me. They want to hear the gossip. All you're going to hear about me is the thing that every other black man does. Because you're not going to make me above fun. I'm not walking around with a staff for you unless you pick up a staff. I'm not going to walk around with a humble expression on my face unless you put a humble expression on your face with me. You ain't going to do to me what you did to Jesus. You quote him but don't practice what he does. Oh, they talk about how religious Jesus was and how nice of a guy he was, and the president says he's a Christian, he's over there killing people in Iraq. Unlike Jesus. Jesus put his trust in God. Why don't y'all? You say it on a dollar bill, in God we trust. You say it in a courtroom, in God we trust. They must not be talking about the same God that me and you're talking about, because the God that dealt with Rodney King's situation wasn't the same God I'm talking about. Right. And I'll tell you what's sad. You know what's sad? What's sad is that you can worship the same God as your slave master. Now that's sad. How can I serve the same God of the man that enslaved me? Whatever God he worshiped helped put me in slavery. Because on Sunday he was probably praying, help us keep the niggas in slavery. Which meant on Sunday I was saying, help him, help you keep me in slavery. Do you understand me? We cannot worship the same God as the slave master. Right. Whatever he worships, we can't worship. I don't care how much you like Jesus. I don't care how much you like gospels and churches. We cannot serve the same God that enslaved us. Is that hard to figure out? We've got to find a God that will get us out of this slavery. And what is this slavery? It's death. Oh, let's visit a graveyard. And in the graveyard we see crosses on tombstones where dead people live. And then Sunday, let's go to church. And we see crosses where mentally dead people pray. I'm not going up under the cross. Understand? Until you put a tombstone on my grave. The grave is where we live, because we're dead. You know when you're dead? When you no longer make impressions in life. Not when your body stops breathing, not when the candle goes out, When you no longer have an effect on life and your environment, you're dead. You understand? When you don't raise any sheep, and you don't plant any seeds, and you don't wait for the seasons to change for the growth, and you don't educate and speak to your children in your tongue, and you don't have fables and folklores and stories about what happened in your life. But when I got to go to a book and tell them about their stories, and I got to buy my food in cans, he can control the weather if he wants to. Then I'm dead. When I can't speak to my children in my tongue, I'm dead. You understand? I went out my way to create a language for us. I know that sounds crazy. But we need our own language. Something that makes me know you and you know me. Because when the Jews are sitting around, they start speaking in Jewish, we go, oh, hey, the Jews speak Jewish. Right?
Yeah.
The Chinese speak Chinese. Correct? Now, Spanish is not our language. We got Spanish from the Spaniards. It's not our language. We speak it. We speak French, we speak German, we speak everything. Because we're all over the planet. Everywhere they look, we're like roaches. Everywhere they look, we're there. And they got a spray, too. It's called AIDS. Don't you remember the name of the spray? Aid? You understand what I'm saying? So I went on my way to make a language for us. It combines Syriac and Aramaic, and it's simple, real simple.
It is.
Anybody can learn it. But if you start it now, eventually these kids will be speaking their own language. Then you write stories about what took place in our time, not about the Book of the Dead. It's nice to talk about Abraham, that's fine, but bring Abraham up to today. Tell your son great things your husband did, not all the bad things he does. Tell him about the good times. How often do you discuss with your children the good things that you and your mate did? You don't. You always got them looking at television and seeing somebody else's good. Or reading the Bible and seeing someone else's dead story. Try sitting down and tell your son great things about his father. And father, try to do great things so she'll have something to tell your son. You understand? Then we will no longer understand. We will start overstanding. We'll be taking control of things again. And we will come alive. And that's what Jesus meant by, you must be born again. We were dead. We make no impressions in life. We have no art form. We don't even have music. And don't tell me hip-hop is music. You're talking to a person that produces music. Hip-hop is garbage. It's edits. It's bites. It's samples. It's not music. The nearest we got to music was blues. That's the nearest we got to music in this bondage was blues. And then it gravitated into jazz. And then it became just that. When John Coltrane and them got their hands on it, I'm talking about a proficient musician who decided to play what they call abstract jazz. It became just that, jazz. Something not worth listening to. And now we're nothing. We have no music. What is a nation of people without their own music? You women have got to invent a dance. I'm not talking about no monkey dance like you see on them hip-hop videos. Those are monkeys on strings. Draw the strings on them one day and you'll see it. Empty Hammer look like one of them little things that they dangle like this. That's my brother, but truth is truth. That was my mother, truth is truth. Y'all got to invent dances. And your dances have to tell the stories of the things that happened to us. And we men got to play the music for the dances. And then we're giving birth to a culture. And then the word cult is no longer an insult. You follow? When they say, oh, y'all belong to that cult, say, that's right. We are cultivating our culture. Yeah, we're a cult, all right. But what is a cult without any culture? You understand? Y'all were in veils 2 years ago and miserable. But now that the veil is removed and the women are becoming a part of us, you follow? We're going to be twice as strong.
That's right.
We ain't going to be right-handed no more longer. We're going to be ambidextrous again. And stop suppressing them. That was necessary. Oh, yeah, it was necessary. You know why? Because of the state of mind we were in when the veil came to us. We were a mess. We as women, I mean we like in we like in you upside down me. We thought that we had to tighten our pants up and show our butt to be sexy. Didn't we? I'm talking about women, not men. Everything had to be seductive. Someone gave us the wrong outlook on life. So y'all had to be veiled, you understand that? To remove that. It was a form of discipline. Because I see the girls walking down 42nd Street. You know, like, you can't hold an intelligent conversation without women in tight pants walking by and distracting it. You can't study in school because the girl next to you's blouse is too tight. All that's done purposely to keep us from having right thinking, pure thought. The veil was necessary, y'all. But now the veil is lifted. And the women have to take over. You know why you have to take over? I know you brothers ain't gonna like this. Because we don't do a good job. The world is in a mess. I mean, was Iran or Iraq destroyed by women? No. It was destroyed by men because of men. The Shah was a man. Ayatollah's a man. Bush, Reagan, or Contras, the Watergate. Every scandal was women in the laboratory experimenting around with the bacteria that made AIDS or men. When we liberate our women, we're going to be empowered. You understand that? They know if they take our woman from us, they take our strength. I'm telling you, brothers, you will be surprised if you really sat down and gave your wife the right to talk. How intelligent she can be. But you ain't going to do that. You're afraid of her. Y'all better wake up.